You are live. That's what it says. Hi, everybody. This is Michelle Solis with This Must Be Ink, and I am coming to you live from Seekonk, Massachusetts. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I am here tonight to teach you guys or show you guys the spotlight technique. So I hadn't used this one for a while, but I just did an email on Wednesday about my background stamps and realized that the background stamps are actually really good um, to use this spotlight technique on. So I thought I would do that tonight. Um, okay, so the spotlight technique is very easy. You're just going to need a few things for that. Let me go over here. So this is the card that I showed on my page, and this is the card that we're going to be making tonight, but we're going to do it in a different color and probably highlight a different dog tonight. But the stamp that I'm going to use, oh, it would be good if I had the stamp, wouldn't it? Oh boy, hang on. I put it aside and forgot to take it back out. Oh. All right, there's a couple of them I wanted to show you. All right, this is the one we're using tonight. It's called Doggone Friendly, and it's in, is it in the annual catalog? I think it might be in the mini catalog. Let me double check. Oh, things I should have looked up before I got started. Oh no, it's in the mini catalog. So it's on page 46 in the mini, and the minute I saw it, and they show it with the brayer, which you could definitely do this with the brayer as well. But the minute I saw this with all the dogs, I knew I had to have it because look at how adorable and look how cute they colored it over here. So cute. Oh, I'm gonna have to case that card. That's really adorable. All right. Well, anyway, so that's what we're doing tonight, and we're going to use the Doggone Friendly stamp set. Now, what you're going to need for this is some dies. So you're going to need some dies that are going to nest together. And what I mean by that is you need them that they're like a gradient sizes, okay? So the ones I'm going to use tonight are the Deckled Circles dies. You can see it's got a bunch of different sizes, and you can nest two of them together so you can get a background and a focal point. So that's what we're using tonight. On this one, I believe I used the Stylish Shapes dies, which comes with the circles and the squares. And the squares you would be able to use as well for this technique. Any shape that's going to nest like that. And then there's also there's the stitched nested labels dies that are old. These are retired, but something like this type of set would also work because this is going to nest together and you can get different sizes that will create that background shape for you. So there's that one. And then there's also the perfect ones are the layering circles dies. And I don't know why they ever retired these, but anyway, these are some circles that will cut out the middle piece, and then it gives you this background layer with a little scalloped edge, which is really pretty. So any type of layering dies like that is what you want to use for this technique. Okay? Okay. So, and the only other thing that I use for this technique is a stamp positioning guide tool. But you don't really need that, but it does make your life easier when doing this technique. So I am going to bring in my Stamparatus. Hey, Lorraine. Thanks for joining me. I am going to bring in my Stamparatus, but you don't really need a Stamparatus. You're going to need to stamp 2 of your images. So I'll explain that as we get going here. We're going to stamp 2. So the first one, I'm going to put my paper in here. And the problem with this stamp is that it goes right to the edge. So I am going to use these little glue dots instead of a magnet. I have these little glue dots, and these are actually from Paper Pumpkin. And I just put one on each corner. And then I will put that in my Stamparatus. So as I said, any stamp positioning tool will work for this. Then we're going to take our stamp and put that on top of our paper. And we're going to want to line that up so it's nice and square. And then we're going to pick that up and we're going to ink it. So I'm going to use black tonight. Okay. So I'm going to use Memento Black. Let me put something underneath here for this card. So I'm going to just ink this up, and look at all those beautiful puppy faces. And just make sure you get good ink coverage on that. But what's nice about using a stamp positioning tool is if you don't get good coverage the first time around, you can go back and stamp it again. But we'll see, we'll try to get this the first time around here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Could be a tiny bit darker in the middle here. There we go. Okay, so that is one. Take that out. And then we're going to do that again. Again, I'm going to use some little dots. Now I'm using these dots because I cut this paper at 4 by 5 1/4. If I had cut it a little bit larger, I could have used my magnets on my stamp positioning tool, but I didn't want to have to trim it up afterwards, so I'm just using it the size that I need. So my focal, my sentiment, or your card front, sorry, is basic white, and it's 4 1/4 by 5. And my card base is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. Okay, so we're just going to do this again, and we're just going to get a little bit more color on there, nice and dark. And what I love about this stamp is you can stamp this in any color. It's beautiful in brown. I've done it in gray. It was really pretty too. I just love the doggies. So this stamp has come in very handy, unfortunately, for a bad reason, because we've had some losses of dogs in my family and then some of my friends at work. So this stamp has gotten a workout for sympathy cards, unfortunately. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to decide which dog we want to highlight. Can anybody guess what dog I'm going to highlight tonight? My favorites, the Chihuahuas. So there's a little Chihuahua right here. She's so cute. It's definitely a girl. Look at the little bow in her hair. So I want to get one of my dies that's going to cut her out. I'm going to use You could even use the smallest one here. She's so tiny, but I don't think that's going to make a good focal point. So I'm going to use a little bit bigger. And if you're creating this card, unless you're creating it for someone special, you could also do more than one. You could do a couple of focal points if you wanted to and put the sentiment in the middle. But we're going to just do one tonight, right here. So I'm going to use this size, and then I'm going to grab the one that is the next size up that will just go around, and that's going to make that extra background shape here. Okay. All right. So we're going to cut with our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We're going to cut out this little chihuahua with the small circle. And we're just going to do that kind of off camera here because my phone is so low, I'm not going to be able to do it underneath there. Just do it on the side here. All right. So we've got our little chihuahua cut out here. And then we're going to need the background piece for her. And we're going to create that with Flirty Flamingo. So I'm going to run that through my machine as well, real fast. You get to watch my elbow again going around. So this will be the background piece. We're going to glue this on here and then use that as our spotlight. But what we're going to do is color this image. And on a typical spotlight technique, you would color this entire piece. But because I just want to highlight my little chihuahua, I'm just going to color her. And that's just the way it's going to be. But I will show you with some other images that I've created where we've colored the whole image. So it's a little tan chihuahua. I had mostly tan chihuahuas. I had a couple of black and white and brown as well. I love them all. Doesn't matter what color they are. Love them all. They get a bad rap, those little chihuahuas. Okay, so there she is. And then she's got a little heart there. And what I usually use for that is just a metallic gel pen. This is a little silver gel pen, just to give it a little sparkle right there. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to take our second image, this one here. We're going to glue this little piece on to our background. And we're going to try to center that as well as we can. So we get a good, as even a border around the image as you can. And then you're going to bring that to your image, and you're going to want to find the little dog in the stamp, and then you're going to want to put this right over. Now you're going to want to line this up so that this dog looks correct, right? So you want his nose and his ear to line up, and then this dog here, and then this guy here. So that's pretty good. So we will glue that on. I had it all perfectly lined up there. A little higher. Oh, that looks pretty good. Okay, and I'm just looking to see that this is a continuous line here in this dog. And then this one's head makes sense, and this one's head. Okay, so there you go. So all that's left to do is put that on your card base. And I think I gave you the wrong measurements there. Instead, I created a 4. This is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Sorry, forgot I cut it differently. So we're going to mat this on a black mat that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then we'll put it on the front of our card. Add some liquid glue here and get that matted. And that's just got a tiny, like 1/16 of an inch border around the whole thing. And then we'll get that on our card front. And again, you're going to have a very small border there. This is Flirty Flamingo that I'm using, one of my favorite colors. Okay, so there's our little card. Now all we have to do is our sentiment. You noticed on this one, I used this die cut sentiment that says thinking of you. This was created with the, oh no, watch me not be able to find that. Why can't I find that thing tonight? Oh my goodness. What? Here we go. Thoughtful moments dies. So this is the embossing folder. This is a hybrid embossing folder that has a die and an embossing folder. So the embossing folder, you can see, has all these different sentiments. And then when you put this die in there, it will cut out all the sentiments for you. This lies inside here, and it kind of hooks in when you lay it in there. You'll put your paper in here to emboss and cut. And what you can do, I think I showed this to you guys in a previous video, is you do it with your brayer, and then you put this in and you cut that out. And when you do that, you will get some die cuts that look like this, that have the word, and it's got the outline of the word. So tonight I didn't do that. I did it just with white. And I want to show you how I created this. I did this with some blending and then with Stampin' Blend markers. Okay, so we're going to use our Flirty Flamingo ink, and we're going to blend first. I've just got a small blending brush, and I'm going to blend over the entire image. I didn't set up my glass mat tonight, and I went to get ready and I just didn't have time. I put it back in its box over there so it wouldn't get ruined. And then I was going to get a piece of paper for my background, and I thought, you know what? That's another really good thing about that glass mat, is that it's reusable. So you don't have to use a new piece of paper every time you want to sit down and you want it to be clean. You just clean that mat off and just keep going. That's going to actually save me some money because I won't have to buy grid paper. I think that's a pretty good idea. Okay, so I'm going to just get this all flirty flamingoed up there. And then I'm going to use my Stampin' Blend marker. And I'm going to color in the tops of these letters. Now this is going to bleed. The marker is going to bleed a bit, so you don't have to go right to the edge. Just start in the middle and let it kind of work its way out. And on these real skinny spaces, you just want to barely touch it with your marker. But then you can highlight this little ridge in the middle here on your word. I really love these. Um, I have used these sentiments quite a bit because I love, just making a card with designer series paper. And I think that these just stand out so nicely on a card front. Okay, so then I'm just going to go back and touch up any areas that don't look like they got enough ink. The ink didn't spread right in there. And the very edges here. And then I will have a flirty flamingo sentiment for the front of the card. There. Looks a little streaky here, but once it dries, it's going to be great. And then I can just put that onto the front of my card with some dimensionals. Use some small ones for the smaller letters. Just to make sure that it's got some even, it's got dimensionals everywhere so it doesn't cave in. I have to be faster at getting the backs off of here. Okay, and then we're just going to put that up to our card front, just like that. There you go. What do you think? I don't know if you guys have ever tried the spotlight technique, but if you haven't, I think you should give it a whirl. It's super easy to do. So you just cut your little piece out and color it up and then stick it onto a background and then back onto your card. So there is another one with the Doggone Friendly stamp set. I love that. I got one for a boy and one for a girl here. And then I want to show you some others that I have created. So here's another background stamp that I had from a previous catalogs. This one is called Daisy Garden. But if you have a background that is floral like this, that is a great use. That will work really well for the spotlight technique as well. So here I did the same thing, created 2 images, cut this out with, this was the layered circles dies, I believe. And then I just colored this in with Berry Burst and Old Olive and then stuck it back to the front, and it looks like you've highlighted that area of your card. So there's that one with another background stamp. But what if you don't have any background stamps? Okay, so what's another way we can do this? Let's do a card front with a big floral image that you might have, might not be all one stamp. This one was created with the detailed dogwood stamp that is from Celebration. It's still available. And what I did was I just stamped the dogwood multiple times. I started here, and then I put another one in, and then I came from this side and put in another one. And basically created a full card front there with the detailed dogwood. And then did the same thing. Did the cut that out. Now let me tell you, I didn't create exactly the same thing. What I did was I created my image and then I just stamped my dogwood again. And so then I just decided which dogwood flower I wanted to use, and I cut that out of here and then figured out how it fit onto my card. So you don't have to create exactly the same thing each time. You just need that same image. So that's how I did that one. And then if you have black and white designer series paper, you could do the same thing with designer series paper. This card was made with the Zany Zoo paper. So I cut out 2 pieces of this this design with the little flowers, and then I cut the circle out here, colored up those little flowers, and then stuck that back on. These flowers are so small, even if you didn't line it up perfectly, you're really never going to know. Because you can't really see with this background, you can't really see how it lines up because the flowers in the back are so tiny. But I think that still works. So if you have a floral paper that's black and white, um, you can do this as well. I think there's been some nice floral papers with black and white in the past. This little sentiment came from a new set that I have. I probably don't have up here either. Here we go. That came from this Sweetly Scripted Cling stamp set. This is a new online exclusive that I just received. And what I love about this is that it will go all the way across your card. I thought that was really nice. And I like the sentiments that it has. So it's got a happy birthday, happy anniversary, congratulations, thank you, speedy recovery, and save the date. Really good for all occasions. Okay, so that is it for tonight. Let me know what you guys thought of the technique. Thanks, Betsy. Thanks, Lorraine. Let me know what you think. I will post these up and you guys can tell me which one is the favorite that you might have had from tonight. And let me know if whether you're going to try the technique or not. All right, let's get out of here. All right, that's it for me tonight. Just wanted to remind you guys that the end of the month is the end of Celebration. We get an extra day, February 29th. So make it count. If you're wanting anything from Celebration, you've got to get it now because once they're gone, they're gone. And I think that's it for me tonight. So you guys have a great weekend and stay healthy and stay crafty, my friends. Have a good one.